Good morning, and I want you to pause whatever you are doing right now and give me your complete attention for the next few minutes, because what I am about to share with you carries the genuine power to change the way you rise from your bed, the way you climb your stairs, and the way your legs carry you through every single hour of every single day from this moment onward. When an older adult begins to notice that the strength in their legs is quietly slipping away, most physicians will hand over a leaflet about eating more protein and consider the matter closed. But today I am going to walk you through something that the conventional medical world almost never sits down and explains to you with the care it deserves. The specific foods that, when eaten during the early hours of your morning, can actively slow down and in a great many cases meaningfully reverse the muscle breakdown that is silently unfolding in your legs at this very moment. And yes, I have chosen the word reverse quite deliberately, because no matter your age and no matter your present condition, it is genuinely not too late to change your direction. My name is Dr. Mayson Hayes. For many years now, I have worked closely with patients who had quietly convinced themselves that their weakness, their fading stability, their struggle to climb a single flight of stairs, or their inability to rise from a chair without pushing down hard on both armrests, was simply the unavoidable price of growing older. That belief is one of the most damaging and inaccurate ideas that has ever been passed down as ordinary common wisdom, and today, together, we are going to take it apart piece by piece until nothing of it remains. Do you understand that the biological aging of your leg muscles can be substantially slowed by what some research teams have estimated to be the rough equivalent of nearly an entire decade simply through the right food eaten at the right time and in the right form? I am not talking about a prescription drug, an expensive peptide protocol, or some clinically unproven powder in a jar. I am talking about ordinary, recognizable, affordable foods that the overwhelming majority of older adults walk right past every single morning without ever realizing what they are leaving behind on the table. Before we go any deeper, I would truly love to know where in the world you are watching me from today. I make it a personal commitment to read through the comments on this channel, and I mean that sincerely. So before we continue, I want to ask you something that genuinely matters to me. How old are you right now, at this very point in your life? And what is the one physical activity that you absolutely refuse to give up, no matter how difficult it has become for you? Perhaps it is walking your dog in the cool of the early morning. Perhaps it is dancing with your grandchildren when the whole family gathers together. Perhaps it is simply kneeling down to tend the small garden you have cared for across the decades. Please share that with me down in the comments below. Your answer matters to me, and I genuinely want to read it. Just one brief word before we continue, and then I promise I will not interrupt again. I wrote a book, and I called it Stand Strong, to help older adults improve their balance, rebuild the strength inside their legs, and remain independent for as long as their bodies will allow. If that sounds like something that you, or someone you love dearly, might benefit from, you will find it linked for you in the description below. Now, let us get straight into what matters most today. Here is the truth about the first hour of your day. The overnight fast that your body has just finished is not some quiet, passive event that simply happens while you sleep. After 7 to 9 hours with no food entering your body at all, your metabolism is running on nearly empty. Your glycogen reserves have been drawn down low, and your hormones are busy pulling resources from wherever they can find them just to keep the whole system running through the night. Older adults enter this fragile morning window with measurably lower muscle stores than they carried into bed the night before. And if you break that overnight fast with refined carbohydrates, with sugary cereals, with white toast smeared in jam, or with that far too common habit of just the coffee for now, you are effectively sending your body a clear instruction. You are telling it that the immediate priority is energy production. And do you know what the easiest source of energy is for a stressed metabolism when no protein is coming in through the door? It is the protein you already carry inside you, and it sits most prominently in your legs. The largest muscle groups in your entire body rest there in your thighs and your calves, and they become the body's preferred emergency fuel tank whenever breakfast fails to supply any other option. But there is something that older adults truly must understand, something that younger adults never even have to think about, and it changes this entire conversation completely. It carries a clinical name, and that name is anabolic resistance. Anabolic resistance is the gradual dulling of your muscles' ability to respond to the very protein you eat. A meal that would comfortably and easily trigger muscle protein synthesis in a healthy 30-year-old often fails to produce that same response in a 65-year-old. The cellular machinery, the ribosomes, the mTOR signaling pathway, the transport of amino acids into the muscle cell itself, all of it has grown slower, less sensitive, and far more easily distracted by the low-grade inflammation quietly circulating through the bloodstream. This is one of the central reasons that sarcopenia can continue advancing even in older adults who are eating what they honestly believe is a perfectly adequate diet. The protein is reaching the table. The signal simply is not reaching the muscle with anything close to the same strength it once had. Now here is the good news, and the published evidence is remarkably clear about the way around this problem. More protein per meal, distributed evenly across the whole day, and especially at breakfast, can overcome this resistance. Researchers publishing in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition examined older adults and found that a more even distribution of protein across breakfast, lunch, and dinner was associated with measurably greater muscle strength than the exact same total amount of protein crowded into a single large evening meal. The standard breakfast pattern that so many of us fall into, where the morning meal holds only 10 to 12 grams of protein, while dinner holds 40 or more, is precisely the pattern most likely to quietly accelerate the loss of muscle in older adults. The scale of this larger problem has been clarified in the research, and the figures are genuinely sobering. A widely cited European review published in the Journal of Cachexia, Sarcopenia and Muscle concluded that somewhere between 10 and 16% of the older adult population worldwide now meet the clinical definition of sarcopenia, which is the medical term for the loss of skeletal muscle mass and strength that arrives with aging. And among adults over the age of 80, that number climbs sharply higher. Some studies report that anywhere from 11 to 50% of seniors in that age band are meaningfully affected, and the decline begins far earlier than most people ever imagine. Research established that muscle mass decreases by roughly 3 to 8% per decade after the age of 30, and the pace of that decline accelerates yet again once you pass 60. So when a patient sits across from me and tells me their legs simply feel tired, what I am truly hearing is a description of a real, measurable physical event that has been unfolding within them for years. There is nothing imaginary about it. There is nothing shameful about it. And there is nothing about it that is your fault. But there is, I promise you, a great deal that can still be done. Let me tell you about a man I will call Thomas, a 69-year-old retired construction engineer. For most of his working life, Thomas climbed scaffolding, hiked across uneven ground, and served as the physically capable one in nearly every family project you could name. But in the 2 years before he first came to see me, something inside him had shifted. His knees felt stiff whenever he first stood up in the morning. His feet, he told me, felt as though they had been quietly swapped out for heavier ones during the night. His first several steps each morning were slow and uncertain, like a man coaxing an old engine to turn over after a long, cold rest, and he brushed it off. He called it simple wear and tear. Then one morning, as he reached down for the newspaper just outside his front door, he caught the tip of his toe on the step and stumbled forward. The fall itself was minor, but the fear it produced inside him was anything but minor. In that single instant, Thomas understood that he was losing something far more significant than physical strength alone. He was losing his trust in his own body, and along with it, the quiet enjoyment of mornings he had taken for granted across 50 long years. His wife had already noticed the change in him. His pace had slowed, his walks had grown unsteady. He needed both hands planted firmly on the armrests of his favorite chair, simply to push himself up onto his feet. He had stopped enjoying the morning strolls that had once anchored his entire week together. And then the nighttime leg cramps began, sharp and sudden tightenings deep in the calf that woke him at 2 in the morning and left him restless for the rest of the night. Those cramps are not a small annoyance. The published literature on nocturnal leg cramps in older adults, summarized in a thorough review appearing in Age and Aging, confirms that these involuntary contractions are common, frequently disruptive to sleep, and meaningfully associated with a reduced quality of life in seniors. Not because of the cramp itself, but because of the cascade that follows it, the poor sleep, the daytime fatigue, and the slowly eroding confidence in one's own ability to walk. Thomas did not have diabetes. He did not have clinically significant arthritis. He carried no serious diagnosis that could tidily explain what was happening to him. What he was living through is what many clinicians quietly refer to as the after-60 shift. That period when sarcopenic muscle loss accelerates silently but powerfully, striking hardest in the weight-bearing muscles of the legs that stabilize every single step you take. After that fall, Thomas began searching for real answers with a genuine sense of urgency. He consulted a nutritionist. He read everything he could lay his hands on. He watched health videos deep into the evening hours. And that was when he discovered something he had honestly never considered seriously before. The strength and the condition of his legs was being determined, in significant part, by what he was choosing to put in his mouth each morning. So he changed his routine completely. No more skipping breakfast, no more black coffee on a stomach that held nothing else. Instead, he began eating foods that carried exactly the nutrients his muscles had been quietly starving for, nutrients that help restore circulation, rebuild tissue, calm low-grade inflammation, and improve balance. By the second week, he had stopped skipping his 5 days-a-week morning walk, even if it was only for 10 minutes at a stretch. By the third week, the change was unmistakable to him. Rising from the chair felt easier, his steps felt steadier beneath him, the nighttime cramps vanished entirely. And within 2 months, he was walking 2 full kilometers at a comfortable pace every single morning, without ever needing to stop and rest. Today, he often turns to his wife with a quiet smile on his face and tells her that he feels as though he has finally got his legs back. That very same possibility exists for you. You do not need extraordinary luck. You do not need some rare genetic gift. You simply need the right food at the right time each and every morning. So now, let us walk together through the 5 morning foods that help Thomas so profoundly and that the published evidence supports for older adults who are determined to protect and rebuild the muscle in their legs. Number 1. Whole eggs. There is almost nothing on this earth as straightforward, as affordable, and as effective for rebuilding leg muscle in the morning as a properly prepared whole egg. The egg contains virtually all of the essential amino acids your body requires for muscle repair and recovery. But the true power of it lies specifically inside the yolk. The yolk is concentrated with vitamin D, vitamin B12, choline, and, most importantly of all, leucine, the branch-chain amino acid that directly triggers muscle protein synthesis, the biological process that is absolutely essential for both preventing and reversing muscle loss after the age of 60. Peer-reviewed work published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition demonstrated that eating whole eggs produced roughly 40% greater stimulation of myofibrillar protein synthesis compared to egg whites alone, even when the total protein dose was matched exactly. Let me translate that plainly for you. The yolk is not optional. The yolk is doing the work that protects your legs. Eggs also support the neuromuscular system, helping to sharpen your coordination, improve your balance, and make your walking more stable and controlled while reducing your risk of falling. The choline inside that yolk deserves its own mention here. Choline is the direct precursor to acetylcholine, the neurotransmitter that carries a signal from your brain down through your spinal cord and out to your leg muscles. Without enough choline, that signal arrives late, weak, or imprecise, and the consequence is exactly the kind of hesitant, slightly uncoordinated walking that older adults and their families so often noticed before they notice anything else at all. The vitamin B12 in the yolk plays its own separate and equally important role, protecting the myelin sheath that surrounds your nerve fibers and improving the speed and accuracy of the communication running between your brain and your legs. The result is smoother movement, more reliable balance, and a more secure step across unfamiliar ground. Eggs also provide highly absorbable iron, which supports blood flow and oxygen delivery straight to the muscles of your legs, a nutrient that is frequently deficient in older adults without them ever realizing it. For the very best results, eat both the yolk and the white within 1 hour of waking. Boiled eggs make an excellent preparation because they retain their full nutritional profile. For a little variety, 2 scrambled eggs with fresh spinach and chopped tomatoes work beautifully. Hold this habit steadily for 30 days, and you will very likely notice fewer cramps, more strength at the bottom of a staircase, and meaningfully greater ease when rising from a chair. Number 2. Oatmeal with chia seeds. A warm bowl of oatmeal topped with chia seeds gives your legs the kind of steady, sustained energy they need to function well throughout your whole morning. While eggs supply the protein required to build the muscle, oatmeal delivers a continuous, slow release of complex carbohydrates that support endurance, balance, and movement. And when you add chia seeds into that bowl, this modest and inexpensive breakfast becomes a genuinely powerful tool for older adults who want to preserve leg strength, prevent muscle loss, and support healthy circulation. One of the most important compounds found naturally within oats is beta-glucan, a soluble fiber that does far more than simply fill your stomach. Research published in the Journal of the Science of Food and Agriculture demonstrated that oat beta-glucan actively alleviates muscle atrophy through a specific and remarkable biological mechanism, the suppression of the FOXO1 signaling pathway, which is one of the central cellular switches that accelerates muscle protein breakdown in older adults. When FOXO1 is activated, it drives the expression of the very genes responsible for muscle protein degradation. By dampening that switch, beta-glucan effectively slows the speed at which your aging muscle is being taken apart. In other words, the soluble fiber in your morning oats is doing something remarkably close to what certain pharmaceutical interventions attempt to do, only through the far gentler route of simple nutrition. Chia seeds bring an additional layer of benefit, supplying omega-3 fatty acids in the form of ALA, along with calcium, potassium, and magnesium, all of which are essential for healthy muscle contractions, efficient nerve transmission, and the prevention of those painful leg cramps that interrupt so many older adults in their sleep. Magnesium in particular helps your muscles relax fully after each contraction, while potassium maintains the electrolyte balance across your muscle cell membranes, which is the very mechanism that allows your muscles to fire cleanly and consistently throughout your day. Long-term chia intake has also been associated in work published in Nutrients with favorable musculoskeletal markers in older populations, including improved bone mineral content. The preparation is simple. Cook 3 tablespoons of rolled oats in water or unsweetened plant-based milk until soft. Then stir in 1 tablespoon of chia seeds and let the mixture rest for 2 or 3 minutes so the seeds absorb the moisture. A handful of fresh blueberries adds antioxidants and natural sweetness without spiking your blood sugar. Eating this warm within 1 hour of waking lets many older adults experience better balance, fewer nighttime leg cramps, and noticeably improved endurance right through the morning. For those who find bananas comfortable to include, a small banana paired with this oatmeal makes a strong combination. That additional potassium helps stabilize the electrical rhythm of your muscle cells. But if your physician has told you to be cautious with potassium because of kidney function, simply skip the banana and keep the oats and chia as your foundation. Number 3. Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt is one of the most efficient breakfast foods available for addressing the gradual muscle breakdown that takes place while you sleep. Compared to standard yogurt, Greek yogurt holds nearly double the protein concentration because of the triple straining process that removes the liquid whey. For adults over 60, that denser casein protein provides a sustained release of amino acids that actively support leg muscle maintenance and repair through the morning hours, precisely the window when your metabolism is shifting out of its overnight catabolic state and into recovery. A single 170-gram serving of plain Greek yogurt delivers roughly 17 grams of high-quality protein, including a substantial amount of leucine. That amount, distributed across a balanced day, brings you significantly closer to the leucine threshold of roughly 2.5 to 3 grams per meal, the level at which the published literature shows muscle protein synthesis is reliably triggered even in older adults. Greek yogurt also provides calcium and vitamin D, 2 nutrients that together support bone strength and neuromuscular coordination, contributing to better balance, more efficient walking, and steadier movement through your daily activity. A peer-reviewed 12-week intervention study published in Frontiers in Nutrition found that Greek yogurt combined with structured resistance training produced meaningful improvements in strength outcomes in older adults. The probiotics found naturally within yogurt support digestive health and have been associated with reduced systemic inflammation, which benefits circulation in the legs. For those with lactose sensitivity, lactose-free Greek yogurt or varieties made from goat or sheep milk may sit more comfortably. Always choose products without any added sugar, because excess sugar promotes inflammatory activity, interferes with muscle recovery, and produces the blood glucose swings that older adults so often tolerate poorly. Greek yogurt is best eaten within 1 hour of waking, either on its own or layered with a small amount of fresh berries and a teaspoon of chia seeds. Because of its exceptional protein density, its easy digestibility, and its genuine versatility, Greek yogurt ranks among the most reliable morning foods for building leg strength and for beginning each day feeling stable, energized, and ready to move. Number 4. Salmon and other fatty fish. Including salmon, mackerel, or sardines in your morning meal at least twice each week represents one of the most powerful nutritional strategies available for supporting leg muscle recovery in older adults. These fish are rich in the long-chain omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA. A recent systematic review and meta-analysis published in Nutrients, examining 25 randomized controlled trials, concluded that omega-3 polyunsaturated fatty acid supplementation in older adults likely produces meaningful improvements in hand grip strength and in quadriceps strength, that very large muscle group at the front of your thigh that lets you climb stairs, rise from a chair, and recover your balance whenever you stumble. Alongside those strength outcomes, the review found improvements in walking speed and in the time it takes older adults to rise from a chair, both of which are central markers of independent mobility. EPA and DHA together reduce the low-grade chronic inflammation that quietly undermines your lower body muscle over time. They do this in part by lowering the circulating levels of inflammatory signaling molecules such as interleukin-6 and C-reactive protein, the very molecules that older adults with sarcopenia tend to show elevated. As those inflammatory signals come down, the muscle's anabolic machinery grows more responsive. They also appear to improve insulin sensitivity within the muscle tissue, which helps aging muscle cells actually respond to the protein message they receive across the day, partially overcoming the anabolic resistance I described to you earlier. Salmon is also an excellent source of highly digestible complete protein, providing roughly 20 grams per 100 grams of cooked fish, alongside vitamin D and vitamin B12, nutrients that support the communication between your brain and your leg muscles, both of which matter enormously for confident movement. A simple preparation is to pan-sear fresh salmon in extra virgin olive oil for 3 to 4 minutes per side and serve it alongside roasted sweet potato, sliced avocado, or lightly steamed vegetables for a protein-rich morning plate. If fresh salmon is not consistently practical, smoked salmon, canned sardines in olive oil, or a high-quality fish oil supplement providing at least 1 gram of combined EPA and DHA are all reasonable alternatives, though whole food sources remain preferable whenever you can access them. For older adults with digestive sensitivity to fats, or with elevated cholesterol, smaller portions of baked fish are well tolerated. Even a single serving each week can contribute to stronger legs, improved balance, and a noticeably more active lifestyle. Number 5. Sweet potatoes with a pinch of mineral-rich salt. One surprisingly effective and affordable breakfast that delivers meaningful benefits for leg health is a gently steamed sweet potato, lightly sprinkled with natural mineral-rich salt, such as a small amount of Celtic sea salt or pink Himalayan salt. Unlike so many products marketed as superfoods, this humble kitchen staple can produce real effects on muscle health and mobility when used consistently and strategically. Sweet potatoes are concentrated sources of complex carbohydrates that help replenish the muscle glycogen stores depleted during the overnight fast. Their natural starches release energy gradually and steadily, without producing the rapid blood sugar spikes that contribute to that mid-morning weakness and leg heaviness in so many older adults. Sweet potatoes also contain meaningful potassium. Several reputable dietary sources, including guidance from the Cleveland Clinic, place a single medium-baked sweet potato among the most potassium-rich foods in a typical kitchen, at roughly 500 milligrams per potato, which supports the electrical balance across your muscle cell membranes. The addition of a small pinch of mineral-rich salt delivers trace electrolytes, such as magnesium and additional potassium, both of which older adults frequently fall short of, particularly those taking diuretics for blood pressure or heart conditions. This combination addresses both halves of the cramping problem at once. The potassium supports the contraction, the magnesium supports the relaxation. Preparation could not be simpler. Lightly steam half of a medium sweet potato for 8 to 10 minutes until tender. Sprinkle it with a small pinch of natural mineral salt and eat it roughly 10 minutes before your main breakfast, alongside a glass of warm water. Practice this consistently, and this simple habit may meaningfully reduce numbness, cramping, shakiness, and instability while standing or walking, serving as a quiet but powerful foundation of support for older adults committed to keeping their independent movement. If you live with kidney disease or have been instructed to limit potassium, please consult your physician first. Otherwise, this staple is among the safest and most accessible morning additions you can adopt. Now, beyond the food itself, several daily morning habits can meaningfully reinforce the muscle protection that these breakfasts provide. Each of these is small, takes less than 5 minutes, and addresses a specific mechanism that older adults most often overlook entirely. First, drink a glass of roughly 500 milliliters of warm water with a small pinch of natural mineral salt immediately upon waking. After those 7 to 9 hours without hydration, your blood volume is slightly reduced, your blood viscosity is slightly increased, and circulation out to the periphery, including the muscles of your lower legs, is slightly compromised. The warm water rehydrates the whole system, the salt restores the electrolytes lost overnight, and together they reduce the likelihood of cramping later in the day and support a calmer nervous system upon rising. Second, spend 3 minutes performing simple standing leg lifts and balance exercises after breakfast. Lift one foot 2 to 4 inches off the floor, hold the position for 10 seconds, and then switch sides. This small movement, repeated daily, targets the muscles of your calves, thighs, and hips, while steadily improving your balance and coordination. It is not glamorous, it requires no equipment, and it aligns with virtually every falls prevention program published by the major health systems. Third, do not rise from your bed too abruptly. Instead, take 3 slow, deep breaths, sit up gradually, and gently rotate your wrists and ankles before you stand. This reactivates your circulation, allows your inner ear to recalibrate, and meaningfully reduces the morning dizziness that contributes to falls in older adults. The 5 seconds it takes are among the most cost-effective investments you can make in your entire day. Fourth, spend at least 5 minutes in natural morning sunlight. Sunlight through a window, on a porch, or during a short outdoor walk supports vitamin D production, and the published evidence has repeatedly linked adequate vitamin D status to lower limb muscle strength in older adults. Sunlight also gently wakes the nervous system and may lift your mood through a separate mechanism that carries its own protective effect on your motivation and your physical activity. Fifth, do not delay your breakfast for hours after waking. Extended morning fasting accelerates muscle breakdown, particularly in older adults. If a full meal is not immediately available, even a small portion, a boiled egg, a small bowl of oatmeal, or a serving of Greek yogurt is enough to shift your body out of its overnight catabolic state and toward muscle repair. The principle here is beautifully simple. The sooner you feed the muscle-building process, the sooner you interrupt the muscle dismantling process. Sixth, if you take medications for blood pressure or for heart failure, particularly diuretics, be aware that some of these medications accelerate the loss of potassium and magnesium through the kidneys. This is one of the quiet reasons that older adults on common cardiac regimens experience more leg cramps than the general population. If you recognize yourself in that description, talk with your physician about whether a modest morning banana, a slightly more generous portion of sweet potato, or a mineral water addition is appropriate for you. Do not ever adjust your heart medications without medical guidance. But do raise the question. If you have ever believed that lost muscle simply cannot be rebuilt, I encourage you to stay with me right to the end of this section, because even modest nutrition combined with these habits has over and over again given older adults back measurable pieces of the mobility they had quietly accepted as gone forever. The medical literature on this is, frankly, far more encouraging than the typical clinical encounter would ever suggest. The National Institute on Aging, the authoritative research arm of the United States federal government on aging, has consistently highlighted in its public guidance the importance of adequate protein at breakfast and appropriate physical activity for older adults, both of which align perfectly with the morning routine we have covered together today. There is one surprise breakfast that did not quite make the official 5, but that I want to mention briefly because the research on it is now substantial and its practical effect is genuinely real. A small handful of walnuts or almonds alongside your morning meal. These nuts are rich sources of plant-based omega-3 ALA, magnesium, and vitamin E. The research I cited earlier on omega-3 status applies here as well, even though plant source omega-3 converts less efficiently than the fish source SPA and DHA, which is exactly why the fish at number 4 remains the priority. Vitamin E contributes to circulation by supporting the health of the small blood vessels that supply your leg muscles, and the omega-3 and magnesium combination has been associated with better measured walking speed in older adults across multiple observational studies. 2 tablespoons of chopped walnuts sprinkled over your oats or yogurt is genuinely enough. Do not exceed that. They are calorically dense, and in older adults, modest portions are the appropriate starting place. What I want you to walk away with today is not the perfect grocery list. It is the understanding that your morning is not a small part of your day. It is a determining window, and what you eat within it sends a direct biological message straight to your legs about what kind of day they are about to have. Skip the protein, and the message is that the body should continue breaking down what it already has. Eat the protein, eat the omega-3, take in the potassium and the magnesium, eat within an hour of waking, and the message changes entirely. The message becomes build, repair, stabilize, protect. The sensation of your legs becoming a little less reliable with each passing month is not something you are obligated to accept as permanent. Reaching 60 or 70 or beyond does not mean you are required to surrender your ability to walk with confidence, to hold your equilibrium, or to live your life on your own terms. The truth is that you truly can turn this process around. And the best part of all is that doing so does not demand medications you do not need, expensive equipment, or exhausting exercise programs. It begins with something deceptively simple, and yet, when you think carefully about everything we have just covered, something extraordinarily powerful. The very first meal you choose to eat each day. If this video has helped you see your mornings a little differently, and your legs a little more hopefully, I would be truly honored if you would share it with just one other person you care about. A spouse, a parent, a sibling, a neighbor down the street. There is no financial cost at all to that small gesture, and yet it could quite literally change the entire trajectory of someone's later years. Please subscribe to this channel if you have not already, and ring the bell so that the next video lands right in front of you the very moment it is published. Tomorrow morning, I want you to try just one of the 5 foods from today's video. Simply notice how your body responds to it over the coming weeks, and the next time I see you here, I will share another piece of practical, evidence-based information designed to help you stay strong, steady, and independent for years to come. Now, before you close this page, I would genuinely love to hear from you down in the comments. Tell me how old you are. Tell me the one activity you refuse to give up, no matter what. I read the comments, and your words so often shape the very next video that we make together. I will see you in the next one. Take good care of your mornings, and your mornings will take good care of your legs.